Ozan Kabak is back, my friends. Norwich got relegated. They did not activate his release clause, which I guess I understand, but it's also like they could have bought him and flipped him immediately, but he's back. Important player, 38.5 grand a week. Oh, minor detail. He wants to leave. So we've agreed that if somebody comes in for 33.5 million, that he can walk. Luckily for us, right now, it's June 11th, so there's still like quite a ways to go in the transfer window. Only Atletico Madrid are even minor interested. So can we keep him? I surely hope so. And I'm curious if we might have a problem with Steve Cook. Let's go take a look. Let's take a look at Steve Cook. Welcome in, my friends. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. We're at 6,100 subscribers. The kind of first hurdle of the year is to get to 6,500. Overall goal is to get to 10,000, which would be insane. Steve Cook, remember how we brought him in early? As part of my contract negotiation, we was thinking that he was going to be an end-of-season signing. They snuck in here, and I either missed it or I thought, oh, that's not going to be applicable to us. Minimum fee release clause of 975 grand. So, but that's only to domestic clubs in a higher division. So my question for you, my friends, is if we get to July 1st, so what is that, 20 days from now? And we are now in the highest division, is that clause a null and void, essentially? It's like, as long as you're in the upper division, no team can come poach your player because there is no higher division? Because otherwise, Steve Cook's worth double that at least, and I'm afraid we're gonna have paid 300 grand and get him poached for 975 before like the start of next season when we're officially in the Bundesliga and officially promoted. Tad worried about that. Also, quick shout out to Mr. Kev, who's one of my Patreon supporters. He's in the Discord. He sent a file of all the players whose faces we didn't have to add to my graphics pack, so like the likes of Oliver, etc. So thanks for doing that. I also want to give you all a heads up. I got a new monitor. Yay, 2 monitors are back because my other one died after 12 years. So I got a new monitor with a Black Friday deal. If it looks a little wonky from a setup standpoint, let me know. It's a 2K monitor, but I'm playing in 1080p and recording in 1080p, so I'm hoping that all that kind of works. Be honest with you, this is the second time I've recorded up to this point because as I was moving cables around, Windows decided to be like, I didn't recognize your microphone. So just as a heads up, if you see something weird, that's what's going on. Thanks for your support, all of you, and Mr. Kev. All right, let's do the end of season review here. A lot of you had the likes of Simon and Oliver as signings of the season. There was a mix of Zalazar and Malik as the young player of the season. Let's go take a look at what FM thinks. Oliver is the signing of the season. 15 starts, 9 subs. Only the 1 goal. Mate, Oliver, what you doing? 15 assists. We're not going to go through all of these because there were quite a bunch. And again, it's showing it coming from the second team. Yet another bug. Same thing with the transfers out. We're not going to look at all this because we didn't really know those players much and have much to do with them. We just go on, get rid. Not a bad season, finishing first. 93% home attendance is kind of nice. Simon with the 18 goals. So, biggest win, 4-0 over Paderborn. Match to remember. Not sure why. Against Sandhausen. I guess, was this the match that kind of sealed the deal? But it's like, I think there were some other matches to remember there. Goal of the season. I'm always curious. Can we see the... I want to see the goal of the season, mate. I think that was the one like that we... At the moment, I was like, oh, that was pretty lovely. 7th minute, though. I'm not convinced. Thomas on the wing. That text is really tiny on your screens, I think. Oh, that was pretty good. That one I'll take. Like, at least it's like when you're like, okay, all right, that was good. And then the finances. I mean, Oliver, Simon, Drexler, Ralph, and Marius with the most shirts sold, 8.92 million in total merch sales, 26.6 million in sponsorship. We need that number to go up. There's kind of our best 11. I think I'm pretty good with that. Yeah, Dries and Malik here at the back line. I don't think it's fair to put Steve Cook back there because he was so new. But yeah, that makes sense. Most goals by a player in a match, a hat trick by Simon. We had that a couple times, I think. Oliver with 15 assists. Most player of the match, 5. That's what happens when you have 15 assists and like, what is it, 3 1/2? Like, that's going to earn you some of those. Youngest player, Evan, at 17 years and 23 days. Nice. So let's see. Marvin is the young player of the season. Really? Okay. Interesting. We don't have any competition awards. I mean, I guess from an impact standpoint, Marvin, 22 years old, 11 starts, 13 subs, 11 goals on a 7-1-7. That's not, fair play, mate. Fair play. I'm a bit surprised because like no one picked that out, and I'd kind of forgotten about it. But 11 goals is a lot for a 22-year-old, and maybe the rating plays into it as well. Because here's like Malik with 19 starts and 5 subs on a 6.95. I think you could argue almost as equivalent impact, but obviously no goals, no assists, no rating increase, and all that kind of stuff. Thought I'd point this out as well. We get 17.64 million for winning the league. We're still negative 21 million bank balance, so it's like drop in the bucket. That's a little help, but we got a ways to go. All right, so taking a look here at the squad. I'm pretty convinced if we can find a replacement to let Simon's contract expire in 19 days. He is the Zweite Bundesliga guy, right? 29 goals for Cologne, and then only 3 goals in the Bundesliga. And then 24 goals with Hamburg, and then they let him go. And then 18 goals for us, and I think we're going to let him go. Like, he has had nothing but success. Like, this is his station in life, is, mate, you're really good. You're getting older. I don't think you're worth even 13.5 grand a week. That's, once we move up a level, that's if he was a good enough striker, that's a bargain basement price. So here's what I'm thinking as I've kind of assessed the squad. We would keep Ralph. Now, hadn't seen that. Ralph is going to start tailing off. But I do think Ralph's ability as a professional to mentor the younger keepers, we have 2 really good keepers coming in, is going to diminish. He is an academy product from the Knappenschmiede, sorry, I think is how you say that. And I think he deserves another go in the Bundesliga. But he is starting to age, and he's going to start dropping off. So my goal is to bring in a backup on loan, so we don't have to pay for them. That would be, decent enough. But then let Ralph start taking the likes of Luka Podolak here and start, developing him, right? Maybe give Luka a couple, like, that first round DFB Pokal appearance, something like that. But I've started looking at the squad overall. These are my general squad rambly thoughts. Is right now, Reinhold Ranftl is our best right back. Even though he can't cross or dribble, he's got everything else. So for now, I think he stays put, unless somebody else really good comes along. If we get to keep Steve and Kabak, those are our starting center backs now. They have to be. Thomas is, it says transfer, but that's because we bought him. Same thing with Zalazar, is our left back. Zalazar in that box-to-box midfield role. Victor wants a new contract, and I don't think we're going to give it to him. He's 31. He's not going to get any better. The problem is Victor is currently our captain. So if we don't have any better options, we might, because, I mean, he does have, like, the mentals are just absolutely crazy, but he is a 3-star right now, and he's 31. At the end of next season, he'll be 32. Again, it's not like he's immediately to start falling apart, but, like, is he worth going up to 25 grand a week? Not sure. Marius right now is our best right winger. If we pair him with Oliver, again, I'm thinking from a tactical standpoint, we're going a little bit slower maybe next season. I can't do counterattacking. It's just not my thing. So if we do some sort of a control where Oliver is pinging in those crosses. Alternatively, again, I just have it set up as a 4-2-3 right now. We do have Joe Gelhardt who can play like an inside forward, or he may be one of our better striking options, depending on who we can bring in. There's Joe's face. Thanks again, Mr. Kev. So if we take Simon out and find a replacement, I've got some choices I'm going to show you. Then our starting 11 looks pretty settled to me. Again, you could bring in, right, like we've got options. Marvin, I'm thinking about, just because of the value. I think to get a 22-year-old for 500 grand who's only making 800 a week, now he's probably going to want more than that, would be my guess. But I think Marvin, just from a value standpoint, is probably worth 1.5 or 2 million. So like we should probably activate that clause. I haven't done it yet. We've got some time. But that leaves the likes of like Hamza Mendel, who's on loan, but his loan is just paying his wages and is coming to an end. He looks like a pretty good rotation left back option to me. Now, if somebody comes along, like they do have the option as part of the, or they did. No, that's somebody else. We have so many loan options, but he looks decent enough. Now, the problem with that is that would mean, who would that? Karim here would have to probably go on loan to continue his development. So taking a look at that, but like, I would feel like our starting 11 would be pretty set. Again, Victor, you could throw in a Pablo. You could throw in Florian Flick. I'm trying to get rid of Danny Latza. Nobody wants him. I'm trying to get rid of Dominic Drexler. Nobody wants him because of his wages. Wages are a problem. So I bumped it up to 1.4 million and offered to pay like 9.25 of his wages, and still nobody's taken it. So not sure what to do there. Some of the other loan players, though, so like Amin Harit is going to come back and be potentially, I mean, he's 57 grand a week. Can we even afford that? They don't have a loan option, but he would be our 10. Again, he could play also that inverted winger, rotate with Oliver to leave Marius on the right, but put him in as the 10. Like, he's got the technique, the first touch, the dribbling, the flair. Like, as an attacking mid, I think he would look really good as our 10. Might look to offload Matondo, who's just a really fast winger, although we could keep him around. He's not a youth prospect. We paid $9 million for that guy. Goodness me. So maybe you try and extract some value, but he is coming up on his contract. You know, he's got a year left. Timo Becker probably going to get offloaded. It just is what it is. He's just not going to be good enough for the Bundesliga level. Itakura is going to go back to Man City. Good riddance. Darko is not good enough, I don't believe. Even not paying for him, he was only on a 6.81 in the Zweite Bundesliga. So I go, that's to step up to the Bundesliga. I don't think that's going to work, to be honest with you. So lots of shifting, right? So I do think we need like a holding mid. In a perfect world, a holding mid that's better than Pablo, but doesn't want to take all of Victor's minutes, if that makes sense. Like Pablo here, I think we could flip. Austin FC wants to loan him. I mean, sure, maybe. But again, this is the business we're trying to do. Pick him up on a free, give him 16 total appearances on a 6.91. Not bad. Again, he's 23. He could develop. He could be the backup. I wouldn't be devastated if he was the backup. But if we can flip him for 3 million, might be tempted. I've rambled here for a little bit. We are going to keep Malik around and Dries, but they kind of, again, it goes back to, are we going to play a 3 at the back or 2 or 4 at the back? You know what I'm saying? I do think Marcin Kamiński, who's the 30-year-old right here, probably is going to walk as well, or be punted out. Yeah, that's kind of where my head's at from a squad building standpoint. Let me show you some of the striker options and get your thoughts. First up, it's an American, Jordan Sibachu Pefok. He wears Pefok on his kit. You saw him in my U.S. Men's National Team series. If you hadn't seen that, you should go watch it. I'm going to put the link up there for you. He's like a younger version of Simon. He's 6'3". He can jump really well. His heading's really good. He plays a wide target man, so he could play on the right. You know, he's got 12 goals in 29 appearances in the Swiss Super League, which some would say is not fantastic. But 4 goals and 2 assists in World Cup qualifying and 8 total appearances for the USMNT. You know, they got him for 2.4 million. Would they sell him for like 4 or 5? Probably not. I think it's he's more of a punt, but this manager likes Irish and American and obviously Schalke prospects. So that's kind of one way we could go. And even more discounted Simon is a 25-year-old Silver Ganvula. Okay, a Congolese player, 25, 3.1 million. Bochum, who are getting relegated, so that's a relegation release clause. Again, same thing, 6'3", jumping reach, heading. He had 12 goals in the Bundesliga. Like, at first glance, I'm like, that first touch is bad, decisions are bad. But is he a bargain and not going to fall apart physically, right? Because there's a piece of me that goes like, well, then we should just keep Simon. Like, if Simon is going to be about the same, but Simon's physicals are so bad. and it says that he'd want 20.5 to 30.5 grand, which is a lot, but an option if we're trying to like for like replace Simon. A not like for like option is Danny Mota, a Luxembourger. And I know we've got some folks in the Discord that are Luxembourg fans, and so this is kind of one of the reasons why I was interested. But all around, it's like all around decent. I don't think he's necessarily starting material, if that makes sense. But like, he's close. Like, he looks like Joe Gelhardt, lots of yellow. You know, some of the yellows are high, like getting towards the greens. 24 could probably still develop, but that's more of like advanced playmaker, deep lying forward. That's not a target forward, which might be better as we take on like the likes of Bayern Munich and stuff like that, if we're trying to do something a little bit faster paced. But again, do we go to a slow Oliver pinging in crosses, set pieces, and we need a tall target forward? I kind of probably need to figure that out. I also love that he's fairly professional. Oh, and that he wants 13.5 to 18 grand. So that's a little easier on the wage budget, despite the transfer value being 100K to 5.5 million, which is like one of those things that's 55 times more than the other. Don't think that's realistic, SI. Come on. For those of you that are wondering, yes, I did scout the likes of Daryl DK. Orlando City wants 24 to 29 million. See you later. Now here's a player I'm seriously considering, Sergi Guardiola. He's currently on loan at Real Valladolid. Again, lots of yellows here. Can play complete forward, 6'2", so we could have some of that target forward action, right? Kind of looks like a more physical version of Simon. He's not as tall, he can't jump as high, but he is more versatile in that, like, you could play a couple different ways. Like, you could just throw him on as a complete forward. I don't know that I'm sorry, who is it? If you're in the comments, if you're a viewer and you always leave a comment say you should put that youth prospect training on the complete forward, let me know who you are. But 275 to 2.7 million would be nice. Relish is a big match, consistent performer, and 17 to 22 grand, a little bit more than Simon, but like for somebody that I think could play at the Bundesliga level, maybe. Fairly determined, 31, just turned 31, so it's not like he's going to turn 32 soon. What, like a 3-year deal? Maybe? And last but not least, it's Ladislav Almasi, a Slovakian 23-year-old, 90K to 900K. Like, that's like an offer 350 and some add-ons is what I think with that. He's on 425 a week. We're still scouting him. But my friends, I'm thinking he could be the like for Simon, and we pick up Guardiola as like the other, like the actual starter. And Ladislav, now, is he going to want to be a star player? Mate, you're making 425 a week. But 18 jumping reach, 15 strength, 6'5", knows the target forward. Now his first touch, not great, but better than the other guy I showed you that was a 9, and he's 23. So he's taller, he's 23, he could continue to develop. Oh, come on, I'm scouting him. There it is. Okay, 92 grand is a very specific number to 925. One of those things is 10 times as much as the other, but only, I don't know if I trust that estimated wage of 2.1 to 3K, but I think would be an absolute steal. Dubious transfer interest, so we'll have to see. I'm going to keep scouting him because he's only 56% right now, but would you sign Ladislav and Guardiola and like do a package deal? I'm very tempted. I'm very tempted. The last one here, I'm not so convinced of. It's Jan Kuchta, Czech Republic, 25-year-old, going to be 26 in the middle of the season. 3 to 6 million, so you're probably thinking like 4.5, which is most of our transfer budget right now. 6 foot tall, pretty good finishing. Physicals, not so much balance and jumping reach. You know, it says sign him whatever the price, but like from an analyst, oh, we don't have the analyst support, fantastic. Lower wages, I just don't think he's going to be quite good enough, which might seem harsh, but I just think for the transfer cost, right? Like, if I can go get Ladislav for 350, 400, 500 grand, even if it was 900K, like even if we had to pay full price for him and he was only 2 or 3K a week or even 5K a week, I think that would be a better option than paying 4.5 million for Jan. And just as a reminder here, we do have Xavi Simons showing up here at the end of the season. He's got 2 goals, 5 assists, and 32 appearances in Ligue 2 on a 7.12. He's also on squad player minutes, so we gotta kind of have to work that out. Last thing here I'm going to show you is going to be, I have modified our wage budget, transfer budget, like move some of that money around just to kind of see where we could get to. Like if we only wanted to sign, let's call it 2 players at 30 grand each, because we're committed to spending 409,000 right now, that would get us that 469, right? So if we spent 60 grand more on 2 players, that would leave us 5.8 million in the transfer budget currently. So that's not including if somebody goes, or if Kabak goes. Again, I'm not going to be gutted if we get 33 million for him, because they have bumped up our transfer revenue retention from 25% to 75%, because it would allow us to reinvest. And I'm not disappointed if we have to run with Dries Wouters and Malik, or both of them with Steve Cook. So, but it would kind of make the determination of whether we keep Marcin Kamiński. I do think Marcin needs to go. But that's where we're at, my friends. I'm going to keep trying to get an episode out for you tomorrow with this, because I've got to get all the way through the transfer window. Not sure if I'm going to get that done. Might have to put something else more interesting out on the channel. If you've enjoyed this, so hit that like button. Thanks for your support. Let me know what you think about those strikers. I'm real tempted to go after the pair I told you about, Guardiola and the other guy. Let's find out what you think. See you next time. Bye-bye.